I think there is a deep sense of outrage and betrayal. And this is not just about progressive Democrats. This is across the board, the entire party. Yeah. There are members of Congress who have won Trump-held districts in some of the most difficult territory in the United States who walked the plank and took innumerable risks in order to defend the American people, in order to defend Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, just to see Senate Democrats even consider acquiescing to Elon Musk. I think it is a huge slap in the face, and I think that there's a wide sense of betrayal if things proceed as currently planned.
Senator Chuck Schumer has decided to work with Republicans as Democrats blast him through mainstream media. Former First Lady Michelle Obama exposes her own husband in her podcast. Maybe the divorce rumors are true. And The View goes ballistic as Governor Gavin Newsom continues to interview right-wing personalities. The implosion's happening, guys. I got a ton of updates for you guys today, so let's go ahead and get the ball rolling with Senator Chuck Schumer. Watch.
Let's just start on this. I think there are a lot of people watching this right now who are confused about this decision, or upset by it. So just give me your logic, particularly on this sort of on the one hand, on the other. What is the cost you see to the constitutional order of a shutdown that isn't already being done now?
It's a dramatic cost. Here's why, Chris. Under a shutdown, it is the executive branch, in this case, Trump, Musk, Doge, and Vogt, who's head of the OMB, who we all know are authoritarians, vicious, nasty, who would have sole control over what is funded and what isn't. They get to determine what is a, quote, essential service. And they will just cut to smithereens, far greater than in the CR bill, which is a lousy bill. Far greater than that, what could be funded and what couldn't. And there's no recourse. You can't go to court. This is a decision totally in the executive branch. And so it would be devastating.
So I think it's pretty clear that Chuck Schumer was stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Meaning that he was going into this knowing that this was going to be a lose-lose situation for him, right? Now, the only difference would be the crowd that would blame him. Would it be the Democratic Party or the entirety of the American people? Now, I believe former Trump counselor Kellyanne Conway, she did a good job of explaining this recently on Fox News. If you guys appreciate the daily news updates, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Donald Trump's the president, so that clouds even the most reasonable person's judgment. They look at everything through the prism of Donald Trump, who has the Democrats exactly where he wants them, Liz. If they shut down the government, Americans will believe it was the Democrats' fault, and then they're handing Trump the ability to decide which levers are operable again, what's essential and what's not. So he can go department by agency, by program. And we've seen in the last 52 days of the Trump presidency, we've seen in the last 100 days since he was elected, Liz, that the Democrats are feckless, reckless, and rudderless. And this is not a good message for them either.
Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. I've been talking about the entire direction of the Democratic Party, guys, because it's obvious to me that they don't know where to go from here. Because if they're not raging against President Trump, then they're blasting their own party members. Here's what far-left Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had to say about Senator Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer, I guess the Senate Democratic leader, your senator, said at this meeting that he is going to vote for cloture. He is going to vote to allow there to be a simple majority vote. You think that's wrong?
I believe that's a tremendous mistake. Yes.
Why?
I think, well, first and foremost, the American people, if anyone has held a town hall or has seen what has been happening in town halls, American people, whether they are Republicans, independents, Democrats, are up in arms about Elon Musk and the actual gutting of federal agencies across the board. This continuing resolution codifies much of this chaos that Elon Musk is wreaking havoc on the federal government. It codifies many of those changes. It sacrifices and completely eliminates congressional authority in order to review these impulsive Trump tariffs that he's switching on and off. And on top of that, for folks who are concerned about effectiveness in government, this this Republican extreme spending bill removes all of the guardrails and all of the accountability measures to ensure that money is being spent in the way that Congress has directed for it to be spent. This turns the federal government into a slush fund for Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It sacrifices congressional authority, and it is deeply partisan. And so to me, it is almost unthinkable why Senate Democrats would vote to hand the few pieces of leverage that we have away for free when we've been sent here to protect Social Security, protect Medicaid, and protect Medicare.
Another Democrat who's against cutting government costs. Now, AOC also did little to avoid throwing Chuck Schumer under the bus, pinning the blame on him for making this tremendous mistake. And again, the message is that the Trump administration will come and cut entitlements. Entitlements, like as they call it, Social Security. They keep calling Social Security an entitlement that the Trump and Elon Musk administration are going to cut. Yeah, something that the president himself has already addressed multiple times, including Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt has confirmed that they're not looking to cut Social Security. But of course, Democrats, they don't care about that. All they care about are what their supporters believe, which is why Senator Bernie Sanders is spreading the same message on MSNBC.
What is your position on this?
I'm struggling to vote no. I think the American people are sick and tired of Elon Musk, the richest guy in the world, running around slashing Social Security, veterans programs that Republicans are moving for massive tax breaks for the rich and cutting Medicaid and nutrition, moving us to oligarchy and authoritarianism. You got to draw a line. And I think the American people are prepared to stand with those of us who say that, you know what, we're a government of the people, by the people, for the people, not the oligarchy. And we're not going to give tax breaks to billionaires and cut food, take food away from hungry kids. You got to stand up. You got to fight back. You got to go into the streets. You got to rally the American people. I think you can win millions of people, Republicans, Democrats, independents, who really do not like the direction in which this country is now going.
But to date, neither Bernie Sanders nor AOC or any other Democrat for that matter, they've not been able to provide the text that specifically cites the cutting of these benefits, which makes it apparent that this is purely fear-mongering coming from the left. And it's coming from two different people who seem to have the same aspirations, to hold a leadership position within the Democratic Party. But they do have a problem here. Less and less people are listening to them talk. I mean, just look at the poor reception that former First Lady Michelle Obama's getting right now. She recently started a podcast with her brother. Do you guys even want to hear Michelle Obama's podcast? And she's already revealing secrets about former President Barack Obama, giving more fuel to the fire that their marriage is close to over.
Primetime's been wondering where Michelle Obama's been. She snubbed both Jimmy Carter's funeral and Trump's inauguration. And last week, Barack went to a basketball game all by himself. Turns out Michelle's been busy working on a new podcast, and so far, it's been a flop. The first two episodes have been up all day and only gotten a few thousand views on YouTube. Half of them were probably primetime producers. But still, Michelle's spilling the family secrets, like how Barry gets on her nerves. Listen.
Barack, he had to adjust to what on time was for me.
Because he was on that island time.
Well, but, I've got this husband who's like, when it's time to leave, it's 3:00, he's getting up and going to the bathroom. And I was like, dude, like 3:00 departure means you've done all that, It's like, don't start looking for your glasses, at the 3:00 departure. But he's improved over 30 years of marriage. But that was you must adjust.
Michelle says her husband doesn't really like people, doesn't know how to talk to him, and doesn't even really care.
When a girlfriend comes to visit, it's usually like, you got to stay for 2 days because it's going to take us
so much time to come
to check up. Now, Barack's come in, he's come out, and he's like, y'all still talking? He'll sit down for 5 minutes, be like, how are the boys? And the flip side of my husband, right? Because he golfs, and golfing takes as long as the first session of it takes 5 hours to golf. He'll golf with his buddies, come back and be like, how's X? He's good. It's like, what'd y'all talk about? Nothing.
Now, some speculate that Michelle's doing this to build her base, to try and create a following and further distance herself from Barack Obama, possibly trying her own luck to take over the Democratic Party and maybe even take a shot at the White House, which is pretty similar to what other politicians are doing right now. Which brings me to Governor Gavin Newsom. So Gavin Newsom, he's trying to appeal to conservatives with his podcast. He's like a fake Democrat or like a wannabe Republican or something. I don't know what he's doing exactly, but what he is doing is he's positioning himself as more of a moderate as he invites right-wing personalities to his show. Now, a lot of people were shocked to see Steve Bannon show up on his show for the second episode. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear criticized Gavin Newsom and had this to say: "I think that Governor Gavin Newsom bringing on different voices is great. We shouldn't be afraid to talk and to debate just about anyone. But Steve Bannon espouses hatred and anger and even at some points violence. And I don't think that we should give him oxygen or any platform ever, anywhere." He wasn't alone with his take. The View's Sonny Hostin also had some choice words for Gavin Newsom.
I think this is a poor strategy for Gavin Newsom. I actually did think that he was one of the leaders that would come out in terms of 2028. I remember watching his annual State of the Union address in California, and he criticized Republicans, and he promoted California as an antidote to the poisonous populism of the right. Now he has a Steve Bannon on the show who's saying, you know, you're going to get to populism. There's a long road. He gives zero pushback there. He gives zero pushback, as Sarah pointed out, to really what is a slur against Senator Warren, a sitting senator. He gives a platform and normalizes, in my view, an election denier and someone who is the person who is behind Project 2025. And I believe that, you know, if you are going to be a public servant, you better be unapologetically authentic, because voters can sniff out inauthenticity in a second. And I thought that that was one of the most inauthentic things I have seen Gavin Newsom do.
Inauthenticity? I guess that explains why Kamala Harris lost by a landslide. But this explains the party in a nutshell. The minute one of them deviates from the path, everyone else starts attacking them. Now, speaking of which, protesters are now going way beyond what's acceptable, at least when it comes to peaceful protests. Now, I covered this in a recent live stream where Vice President J.D. Vance got confronted as he was walking in the streets with his young daughter, something that made her incredibly anxious. Make sure you guys check it out because he released a shocking statement related to this incident. As always, appreciate y'all hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. We'll see you next time.